Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, distinguished guests, I bring you greetings from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in Jamaica and the government of Jamaica on this very delightful occasion. Special thanks to a very beautiful, energetic, hospitable, and visionary host and organizer, Ms. Sandra Casanova. Put your hands together for her for me. As global economic power continues to shift to the east and south, it is driving new patterns of trade and investment in an interconnected world. The disaggregation of the global supply chain makes it possible for the greater Caribbean, connecting the French, English, and Spanish, to be one larger market, providing the wider markets of the North, Central, and South America with a last-mile logistics services. The term last mile was originally used in the telecommunications field, but has since been applied to supply chain management. Transporting goods via freight rail, air networks, and container ships is often the most efficient and cost-effective manner of shipping. However, when goods arrive at a high-capacity freight station or port, they must then be transported to their final destination. This last leg of the supply chain is often least efficient, comprising up to 28% of the total cost to move goods. This has become known as the last mile problem, which becomes the Caribbean's opportunity to add value. The opening of the third lane of the Panama Canal in a matter of weeks, thank you, signals the potential realignment of trade between competing routes of the Suez Canal, the West Coast United States of America to Panama Canal, U.S. East Coast route. And this, of course, signals increased traffic moving through the Caribbean waters and resulting in increased access to a population estimated to be some 800 million from North American, Central, and South American markets combined. The shift of traffic to the expanded Panama Canal route is natural, as over 60% of the U.S. population, as you would know, lives on the East Coast. And of course, the Panama Canal is well established to facilitate that. So this route obviously is very important. Interestingly, in the recent study, the dimensions of value added in gateways and corridors by David Gillen, Singapore, which is celebrated as the #1 logistics hub in the world, offers some very valuable insights for us as a Caribbean region. With the changing terms of trade in the Southeast Asia and changing nature of supply chains, it transformed itself from transshipment to logistics and specifically to value-added logistics. In fact, in 2005, intra-Asian container movements were greater than transatlantic and trans-Pacific container movements combined. Gillen highlighted 4 main lessons which I'm putting to you for consideration as we look to attract major companies to cluster along Caribbean-based gateways and corridors. First, geography may be necessary but is not sufficient for success. In an information-intensive world, location is no longer everything. Lowest total cost trumps low location costs. Secondly, Singapore has had a focus on education and training as a major component of developing a successful logistics hub. It is not enough to build roads and bridges. Investment in skilled labor and education, including research, is essential to create high-value added gateways. Singapore understands that strategic manpower and education programs are equally, if not more, essential. Core infrastructure investment is a prerequisite to successful deployment, and core capital must align with the goal of investments. Fourthly, Promotion of a gateway is essential in establishing presence and success in the market. Let us resist the temptation to predict the future, but focus on tools that help educators and policymakers imagine the future and to get ready for 21st century learning in a logistics-centered Caribbean region. There is no question that demands on learners and their school system are evolving fast. And so in examining the skills gap, the reality is that business, technology, and supply chain business challenges are outdistancing current skill and talent needs. The U.S. Census Bureau predicts that more than 60 million baby boomers will exit the workforce by 2025, while only 40 million persons will take their place. And of course, we have a young population in the Caribbean, 20 million gap. This is one dimension of the skills gap, namely the build-up knowledge of how business and supply chain processes interact and yield outcomes, and how decisions get made, is walking out the door to enjoy retirement. In some sense, it can be a supply and demand challenge. However, the mega trends in business and technology are creating new and more demanding jobs with far more specialized technology-grounded skill needs. Articulated essential skills now reflect on a broader combination of both hard and soft skills. There are needs for deeper cross-functional business, supply chain, and product management knowledge that span beyond a single function or a single international business culture. There are needs for cross-organizational team leadership, collaboration, and change management skills, along with the ability to leverage the technology tools for the challenge at hand. Yet, employers demanding these broad-based and specialty skills sometimes balk at adequate compensation or training needs. I advocate that approaches to closing the skills gap require stronger partnerships among employers, training organizations like CMI in Jamaica, and employees on skills-based needs, compensation, and development plans. One action that can help is defining job needs on the basis of individual skill needs as opposed to minimum experience requirements. The recruitment process should be one of matching skill potential with compensation tied to skill mastery. A 2011 study from Accenture that observed only 21% of U.S. workers received any formal training in the prior 5 years. While that study is arguably dated, my informal polling of audiences indicate this situation continues in 2016. This is one of the facets of training gap. Employees who desire to learn essential new skills may not be afforded such opportunities. This gap is even more acute for small and medium-sized but growing businesses that may not have the financial flexibility to support needs for continued training. At the same time, data reveals that employers and supply chain management leaders fear that if they invest resources to train people in desired skills, people will quickly jump ship, or other employers who require such skills will take them away. So, in my final thoughts, my closing recommendations are that supply chain professionals must make skill development a personal mission and goal. This means three things. One, we should collaborate with management leaders on the individualized skills and learning path. Secondly, seek out opportunities to gain added hard and soft skills. Constantly take advantage of online, in-house, or on-the-job training opportunities. And finally, employers need to start defining jobs in skills needs and expected performance parameters for both current and future organizational needs. They need to engage in strategic workforce planning and in individualized learning and career paths, foster a culture of knowledge sharing and facilitate mentors for up and coming professionals. Employers also need to make the supply chain both a fun and rewarding place to work and support efforts for more attractive compensation and reward programs that emphasize talent and skill development. These recommendations will help to create a more harmonious environment for school leavers and young professionals in the context of these global changes. Jamaica, therefore, is pleased to participate in this conference, and I hereby declare that Jamaica is open and ready to do business in the area of logistics and also in our provision of training through our internationally renowned Caribbean Maritime Institute. I therefore wish to commend my colleague and friend, Dr. Fritz Spinnock, Executive Director of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, and indeed the entire maritime team, for the leading role that they have been playing in raising public awareness of the education and training needs of a logistic-driven economy, particularly in the Caribbean. Let's work together then to make it happen. I say, leple bele aun bala bi. The best is yet to come. Merci.
Merci.